Richard Casey, VMG's President, and we would like to welcome you to this short overview of a brand new learning initiative for our members and for all of you veterinary leaders and managers out there in the industry too. So over the last 12, 18 months or so, we have been working hard to review or relaunch our certificate in veterinary practice management. The CVPM, as it was called, was something that had been in operation for a number of years, many decades actually. But as we're all aware, our industry has drastically changed in the last 5-10 years or so. And 21st century veterinary practices require 21st century veterinary leadership and management. So with me today, I have got the pleasure of introducing Dr. Hannah Perrin, who is VMG Group Development Manager and Course Director of VMG's new suite of leadership and management qualifications. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about what it is these new qualifications look like.
Okay, well, as you said, the background to the new qualifications was the CVPM that had been running for, I think, nearly 30 years. So very well established, long been the flagship qualification for practice managers in the UK. But as you said, things have been changing, and we were very aware that our qualifications were due an update. And we really wanted to base these new qualifications on some of the fundamental principles and the values that VMG stands for. And it was an opportunity to absolutely start from scratch. So the curriculum is based on a lot of research that we have done as VMG. A lot of that was your work, Rich, when we basically sat down and thought, right, what does a contemporary veterinary leader, what do they need to know? What do they need to be able to do? How do they act? How are they best placed to lead in the veterinary sector? And we also wanted to build in some fundamental principles of things like accessibility and flexibility, and also transferability, which is where the ILM accreditation comes in as well. So we have 3 stages of qualification. So you start with the award, which is a 1-module sort of bite-sized introduction. 4 modules is the certificate. So that's about a year-long course. And then 8 modules is the diploma. So our participants, our learners, will be dual qualified when they finish with both a veterinary sector specific VMG qualification in veterinary leadership and management, and they will also get a globally recognized leadership and management qualification by the ILM as well.
So that all sounds really exciting. You know, for us, we've known about this for, a while now, so it's like great to finally be able to publicly speak about it. You mentioned there about the dual accreditation, so that ILM, Institute of Leadership and Management piece. So is that something that can, veterinary leaders and managers can get elsewhere? How does this differ from other qualifications that are out there globally?
Sure. So ILM, the Institute of Leadership and Management, they are, I think, the biggest provider of leadership and management qualifications in the country. So they're very well known, very well recognised, and is transferable across all sectors. We as VMG have gone through a very rigorous accreditation process to make sure that our qualifications meet ILM's standards and fit with their curriculum and that kind of thing. And we are now the only veterinary association, I think, in the world accredited to all award ILM qualifications in our own right. So we have built this ourselves. We have taken our experience from the directors and everybody we've spoken to, from people who have been there and done it, and brought that into our qualification, and we can actually award it ourselves, which means that as well as the theoretical learning you get when you do an ILM qualification, you also get the absolute practical applicability. So whether it's for you yourself in your role as a practice manager or a head nurse or a regional manager or whatever that may be, or if you're thinking about these qualifications for your staff, there are tangible benefits both for the person doing the course and also for their organisation.
So that, you know, that tailoring sounds great, and it's obviously something that we've heard a lot from our members over the years in terms of being able to bespoke something to the, you know, to the practice in the industry that they're working in. But now you mentioned that this contemporary or modern qualification for veterinary leaders and managers has a range of modules and options for clients to bespoke to their own needs, but also interests. So what are some of the, can you give us a bit of some examples of what are the, you know, new kind of more modern or innovative modules that people can learn more about?
Yeah, definitely. So everybody doing any of these qualifications will start with the very first module, which is understanding yourself as a leader. So that is, we look at some leadership theory, we look at management theories, we look at theories of motivation, we look at emotional intelligence, and we do a big chunk on personal development planning as well. So that's looking at your own career development, your own ambitions, your own motivations, that kind of thing. There's some really interesting aspects of human psychology, on teamwork, on personal values and how they align with work. There's some really interesting stuff there. The second module, again, is a common module that everybody takes, which is looking at your organization. So in a similar thing, but we sort of take it out a step and say, right, this place you're working, what is it for? What does it do? How does it work? That kind of thing. We look a little bit about the regulation of the veterinary sector and some of the sort of external factors that influence your workplace. After that, we have optional modules.
Okay.
So there are some that have carried over quite sort of naturally from the old CVPM because they are topics that continue. So things like you can learn about practice finance, that kind of thing. You can learn about recruitment and development, that kind of thing. So those things are sort of universal. So there are options there. But we've also brought in some new modules, which again reflect more current thinking in terms of leadership. So we've got, for example, a really interesting module on community and society, where we look at the role of work in society. We look at the role of veterinary practices in communities. We look a lot more at the human factors that are involved. So that's a really interesting one. We've got a module on coaching and mentoring, again, a very popular topic at the moment in the veterinary sector. So if someone wants to learn the principles of coaching, then we've got a whole module on that. There's a module on leading change, very pertinent, obviously, over the last year and a bit. So again, that's the sort of thing where we look at a lot of the theory, we look at how it's applied, we look at lessons, we look at case studies, we look at how this can be applied in somebody's working role. Yeah, but there's options. We've got, I think there are 14 different modules that you can choose from. So
a lot of choice.
I encourage people to have a look. There's a lot of choice. Like you say, people can tailor things either to their role, or a role they're aspiring to, or something that they're interested in, or something that they acknowledge that they would like to learn about and need to learn about. So there's lots of options.
So tell us a little bit around then, as in how long is it going to take me to complete the whole course? Are all modules the same length or some shorter than others?
No, it's designed so that everything sort of fits together in blocks. The only slight exception to that is the project management module, because the assessment requires you to actually manage a project and report on it. So that just has a little bit of a longer amount of time allocated for the assessment. So the actual module lasts the same time, but you've just got a little bit more time to sort of write up the project that's involved. But other than that, we've designed each module to last approximately 2 to 3 months. So in theory, the certificate is 4 modules, so that should be 10 to 12 months, so a year or so. And the diploma is 8 modules, which should take 18 to 24 months, so just under 2 years. But again, it does depend on which modules you choose, how you choose to schedule them. Again, fundamental principle of flexibility.
Great stuff, great stuff. So cost, I'm sure everybody's wondering, how much is this going to cost me on my organization and stuff? So talk us through, can I pay in bulk? Can I pay as I go? What does that look like?
Okay, yes to both of those questions is the short answer. Again, flexibility. So you can either pay per module, and if you want to pick up any of the modules just as a CPD, like a standalone CPD option, that's absolutely fine. If you are a VMG member, of course, we have a members discount, although you don't have to be a member to do the course. You do get a discount on your fees. And then if you want to do one of the longer courses, either the certificate or the diploma, then you can choose to either pay up front, and there is a small discount for paying your fees before you start, or you can pay in installments. So that's either per module or every quarter. Again, making things as flexible as possible. And we also have, for our future cohorts, we have a set of grants. So we have supported places available. So at various levels. So for example, we have an early career bursary available for someone who's early in their veterinary leadership career but shows promise, and we will support that person through the course. We will invite them to join some of our VMG sort of internal meetings to be the voice of the early career veterinary leader. We have a Black and minority ethnic bursary. We have a charity bursary. So if somebody is a leader in the veterinary sector but working in a charity, then we have financial support available there as well.
That all sounds really great, and you know, like I know from experience of when I started out my early, my leadership journey as well, it can be difficult to find, that funding and support and stuff to really help lay that foundation knowledge. So that that's great. Hannah, right, so where would we go? One, if we wanted to have a check or, a bit of a review of which modules may be suitable for us, or where we may have a bit of a skills gap. And two, where could we go then to find out more information about how to sign up to this certificate in veterinary leadership and management? Okay,
2 recommendations there. Firstly, on the VMG website, we have a really useful self-assessment tool looking at the leadership standards framework that VMG published last year. And you can do a self-assessment exercise online, which basically asks you to rate your skills, your knowledge, your understanding in a whole bunch of different areas. And that will start giving you some clues as to where you might like to focus your own professional development over the next year or so. So that's really useful to do. And then if you've already got a bit of an idea of what you might like to start learning, then if you have a look on the VMG website, again, it's scrolling along the bottom there, it's vetmg.com/CVLM, which gives you all the course details, including a summary of all the modules available. And if you have any questions, just drop us an email. It's probably the quickest, office@vetmg.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you to you for all your hard work in making this get to where it is today, and to everybody out there interested and desiring to develop their leadership and management capability to ensure a better 21st century practice. Don't forget, visit vetmg.com/CVLM. Take care, everyone, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.